Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Following the biggest offseason of moves and acquisitions by General Manager Howie Roseman, the expectations of this city have never been higher. Welcome to the 2022 Lehocky Postgame Show on 6abc.com and across the JAKIB Sports YouTube channel, exclusively presented by Lehocky Giordano. Live from the Gallery Bar, booking games inside Ocean Casino Resort. Let's get this postgame show underway. EAGLES, Eagles.
Well, they look pretty ready to me. The Eagles opened their playoff season with a bang. They demolished the New York Giants 38-7, and everything was working today. I mean, let's face it. After a couple of weeks where we had a little bit of angst about the Eagles, didn't really see what we saw during the middle of the season. They were back right on their horse and back to that middle of the season dominance. Guys, listen, everything worked today. With Jalen Hurts, we were worried about how he would respond. He looked 100% healthy, especially on the first drive. Kenneth Gainwell comes out of the blue for 112 yards. The Eagles' defense was totally dominant. Daniel Jones didn't know what to do, totally overwhelmed in this game. And their offensive line, believe it or not, they allowed only 3 pressures the whole night. So it can't get more complete than this. They're ready.
Well, they came out and set the tone from the very first time they got the ball. First of all, I can't believe the Giants win the toss and defer. Now, a lot of teams like to defer. But in this case, if I'm the Giants, knowing that you are outman firepower for firepower, I want the ball first. But the Eagles come out, start at their own 25. First play, Sanders running the ball. Second play, Hurts goes deep to let everybody know that the shoulder's okay. 40-yard strike to Devontae Smith. Then, he goes to a hitch pass to Devontae Smith, slant pass to A.J., and then, of course, he has the keeper. You got to let everybody know we're running the quarterback runs tonight. All right, so he does that. Then he scrambles again, and then, of course, the signature play on the drive, the one-handed grab by Goddard, which brought the house down for the touchdown. After that, it was all academic.
Yeah, by the way, I'm Mike Missinelli. That's Derek Gunn and Seth Joyner.
I've been called worse.
The Lehocky Eagles postgame show. Seth, we're looking. We don't really know what to expect them to come out of the chute because we hadn't seen it in so long. But they overwhelmed that team. That team did not. I mean, they were beat early in this game, and you could see it in the Giants' body language.
Well, I believe that the Giants had a false sense of security in the victory that they had last week against Minnesota. To your point, D. Gunn, you're talking about why would they defer? They would defer because they feel as though if their offense comes out and performs at the level it performed last week, then they want the ball coming out of the half in the second half. They had no idea that they'd be down 28-0 at halftime. Because, again, I believe they were kind of lulled to sleep into believing that they were better than really what they were, and they got put in their place by the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, there was a lot of concerns about the Philadelphia Eagles coming into this game. Not only the injury to Lane Johnson and obviously, and most importantly, Jalen Hurts, but also from the standpoint of how the Eagles had played the last 4 weeks of the season. Again, I would submit to you that things didn't really start to go sideways for the Birds until Jalen got hurt. They struggled through a game in Chicago, but up until that point in time, they were dominant all the way through. So, of course, you got your backup quarterback having to start 2 games. Then you bring your starter back, under protective measures, wrapped in bubble wraps for Week 18. So that obviously you roll into the first playoff game, the divisional game, and naturally the thought is going to be, what are we going to get? I think the Eagles really picked up offensively and defensively right where they left off before Jalen Hurts got hurt.
Absolutely no question about that. Extremely well prepared for this game. And, obviously we're all looking at Jalen Hurts and how he would respond in this game. And, really early they trusted him, that he was back to 100% and right down the field, bang, 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 and accurate and all that. And that was really the only thing that we held back in this game because the Eagles had a better roster than the Giants. And we knew the Giants weren't going to play as well as they did last week against Minnesota. And the only factors, the X factors, were whether Hurts was going to be ready to be that kind of Jalen Hurts. And he was, and they just dominated him.
Hey, Mike, 5 weeks, okay? Let's talk about this. 5 weeks, and he played in a protective game. 5 weeks is enough for him to get back, and I tend to believe that he was ready a lot sooner than they allowed him to be because they wanted to be a little more precautious with him. But in this game, this is a situation from here on out, you got to unleash him because he is a part of what makes the rest of the offense, whether you're talking the running game or the passing game or how you complement the defensive side of the ball, he's a big part of that. And if you're not going to have him doing what he does, you're putting yourself in an eerie position, of potentially losing a football game.
Yeah, and let's talk about the defense because the other X factor was, Daniel Jones played a marvelous game last week, and so we thought the Giants had arrived at a different plateau with this guy. They came out, they passed the ball last week, they ran the ball. The Eagles really, if they have a weakness, it was stopping the run and stopping quarterbacks who ran. They shackled him right from the start, D-Gun.
Yeah, I want to give Jonathan Gannon something I haven't been able to do a lot this year. I got to give him credit for the scheme he put together. He called blitzes when he had to. They kept Daniel Jones in the corral. They didn't over-pursue for the most part. They did everything they were supposed to do. They basically neutralized Saquon. You knew they didn't have the weapons on the outside that would have been much of a threat in terms of the passing game, but the secondary the Eagles have, and especially with C.J. Gardner-Johnson back in the mix, doing what he does. So, Jonathan Gannon, we constantly question a lot of the calls that he makes, a lot of the things that he does, but I thought he put together the perfect game plan to defend a very mediocre Giants offense tonight.
Seth, you looked at their defense tonight. They had this quarterback on his heels from the opening series.
Well, in my opinion, they took care of what they needed to take care of, and they really, one of my keys, some of my keys to the game was getting the line of scrimmage and Saquon Barkley under control, and then not allowing Daniel Jones to get out of the pocket and make plays with his legs out of the pocket. I think those are 2 big keys. Those are the 2 big components of this offensive team is how you control those 2 pieces. Now, Saquon Barkley, listen, he had 9 carries for 61 yards. That's 6.8 yards per carry. So that would tell me that they didn't give him the ball quite enough. But when you get behind the way they got behind, now you're in a situation where Daniel Jones got to put the ball up 27 times to only 20 carries. That's a byproduct of great defense on the Eagles' side and them being able to really, really dominate from the standpoint of third down situations. I mean, when you look at this stat line, it is just absolutely ridiculous. All game long, the New York Giants had 13 first downs. Now, understand, they only had 3 in the first half, all together. So when you're doing that to an offense, I don't care what weapons you have, if you can't sustain runs, you're going to have some problems.
Yeah, and let's look at that first half. The Eagles' first 5 possessions, they did punt once. But first 5 possessions, they get 4 touchdowns out of it. And there was a really, to me, the turning point was where I thought they really overcame the Giants, and the Giants started to think, well, we're not ready for this team, was when Hassan Reddick got the double sacks in a row. They had a third down, and they stopped them there. And then on 4th down, they wound up giving them the ball back on downs, and they scored that touchdown. And there was a great call in that series when they went up 14-0. They went to a quarterback sneak alignment, and then they flipped the ball to Gainwell, and he got 14 yards on it. I thought it was a brilliant call by those guys. And to me, when they went up 14-0, you could just see the Giants go, uh-oh, we're not ready for this challenge.
Hey, Mike, can I say this?
Yeah.
For all them bitching and moaning that went on this week about how illegal it was, their 4th and 1, how apropos was it for them to act like they were going to do it and pitch the ball outside and get a first down the other way?
Yeah, it was a great call.
I mean, it's really just like, just thumb your nose at everybody in the league that's complaining about, your scrum for first down.
Yeah, and they sent Daniel Jones back to the days when he struggled in this league, where he looked really uncertain. In the first half, he had a 36.3 rating. They had 3 first downs, and they generated 56 yards of offense. And that makes a quarterback think, my success that I had last week is not translating. I'm back to the Daniel Jones who threw 23 interceptions that first year.
Well, you look at the difference in the way the Giants ran their plays last week against Minnesota compared to tonight. Against a very porous Vikings defense, that zone defense that Ed Donatel likes to play, Daniel Jones was getting his ball out of his hands quickly in those quick slant routes because he was finding holes all over the defense. Look at how many times he had to pat the ball and stand back there and then try to scramble to his right or to the left and then throw it away because he had nowhere to go with the ball because of the way Jonathan Gannon called his scheme tonight. Gannon took away every slant route basically that they could possibly try to throw at him. They blanketed the receiver. The leading receiver they had last week, Isaiah Hodgins, he was a non-factor in this game tonight. Nothing from him.
Yeah.
Darius Slayton, non-factor in this game.
A very well-coached game offensively and defensively.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, listen, I'll tell you this. If you look at how the Eagles' defense dominated, all you got to do is go back to the James Bradbury interception to understand they knew full well everything that the Giants were going to do and what their game plan was all about. The only way you jump that route is 100% for sure that Daniel Jones is on a clock and he's going to get that ball out of his hands, and that's where he's going with the football. They very rarely even tried to push the ball down the field. So if that's the way that they're going to play, you're either man-to-man or you're zone match. And when you zone match, you're matching according to numbers and understanding that 1, 2, 3, that ball is out. And if it's out, play it.
Yeah, you know what's really funny about that interception? That was the possession they didn't score off of. But they got when the Giants got the ball back, They went 3 and out also, so it really didn't matter. But that was the one possession. As great as that play was, they didn't score off that takeaway.
We always talk about how football is such a game of physicality, but I think we also leave out the psychological aspect of the game itself. When the team comes out, first drive, 8 plays, 75 yards, 4:54 off the clock. The next drive comes out, they go 8 plays, 52 yards, 4:18. The next drive, they go
3 and out.
9 plays, 6 after that the punt.
Yeah,
9 plays, 63 yards. Okay, so you can tell right then, Seth, that team was demoralized because the game was barely warmed up. They were down 21-0, and they could do nothing to stop this Eagles offense either through the air or on the ground.
Well, I'll tell you this: if you look at the first drive, out of those 8 plays, only 3 of them were runs.
Yeah,
they were all passes. When they got into the rest of their game plan, it was pretty evident that their game plan was to take advantage of the 27th ranked rush defense in the National Football League and dominate the line of scrimmage. So while you look at Jalen Hurts' numbers, they're not like overbearing. They're not anything special. He did throw for 2 touchdowns, two touchdown passes, but this is what I've been saying about this offense all year long. When they dominate the line of scrimmage and they're able to run the football early on and set the tone, when they go play action pass, read option, all the other stuff that they do, they're going to be able to get whatever they want. They're going to get whatever they want. The most egregious thing that they can do is come out and just throw the ball all over the map with zero disregard for being the number 1 or the number 3 ranked rush offense in the National Football League.
Yeah, they got 29 carries out of Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell. And I know it was Gainwell's night to shine. Miles Sanders quietly had 90 yards on 17 carries.
And he wasn't even a leading rusher.
He wasn't, and he didn't even seem to be a factor. But they just churned along and just kind of ground up this team. And really just a dominant performance. Now, the question is, is this the Eagles? Because at first I was worried about the 49ers coming in, or Dallas. I think it's going to be the 49ers. But I was worried about whether they would be good enough at this stage. Does this prove they are good enough beating the Giants this way?
The only problem I have with that, Mike, is that let's look objectively to why this team faltered down the stretch. Okay, Chris Sims came out and said that Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback. Okay, after watching Gardner Minshew for 2 weeks in a row, we realized that Jalen Hurts is the system. Okay, so if we got a healthy Jalen Hurts and he's doing what he does, see, he helps every facet of his football team. You know, he helps the running game. You heard Darryl Johnson talk about his conversation with Miles Sanders early in the week. And Miles Sanders says, you know, when I got Jalen Hurts on the field, it makes my job easier. So the presence of Jalen Hurts and the possibility he may run the ball makes the running game that much better. They rushed for 268 yards tonight, okay? It makes the offense, it makes the wide receivers better. It makes the offensive lineman's job easier. And then when you have that kind of connectivity as far as the offense is concerned, imagine how that plays into, you know, the complementary nature of how you play defense. Because I've said it before, I say it again. You know how easy it is to play defense when you got a 21, 28-point lead? It's easy to play. Because, yeah, they're going to every once in a while try to run the ball to keep you honest, but in order for them to truly get back in the game, guess what they got to do? They got to throw it. And guess who you are? You're the #1 sack defense in the National Football League this year.
I totally agree with you on Hurts. I mean, they are what he is, and we knew that. And we just had, the only question was whether he was going to be the same Hurts that we were used to seeing in that dominant fashion.
Nothing wrong with his leg.
No, but here's the thing. And I don't want to freak people out after a great win like this. But if the 49ers come here, they're a much faster defense than you saw what the Giants were today.
Right. That's going to be a good game. If the 49ers come in here, it's physicality against physicality, speed against speed. The big difference is you have Jalen Hurts playing in his backyard compared to this kid who's been the talk of the National Football League, Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy has never been on a stage like he would be on coming in here for Philadelphia to win one game for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. I'll put my money on Jalen Hurts in his backyard in a game like that.
And they're going to be favored. It'll be slight, right? They'll be favored at home. It'll be slight. I'm thinking the Eagles might be a 2-point favorite in that game if the 49ers survive the Cowboys.
Well, I think it all depends on it'll depend on how the 49ers play tomorrow. At this point in time, like if the Cowboys and the 49ers come out and play pretty even, then the Eagles will be favored. If the 49ers come out and just wax the Cowboys tomorrow afternoon or evening, whenever it is that they play, rest assured that the 49ers are going to come in here, you know, and they're going to be a 1 to 2 point favorite. Because everybody thinks that, I mean, when you look at all the predictions and you look at the odds, they are the odds-on favorite. They've been the odds-on favorite for the last 6 weeks to be the team from the NFC to go to the Super Bowl.
I don't think they're coming here to be the favorite, though. I don't think they'll be the favorite.
I think it all depends on how they play.
The best they could do is a pick 'em here in Philadelphia.
Because I see what he's saying. He's saying basically, if the 49ers beat Dallas the way the Eagles just beat down the Giants tonight,
they're going to be favored.
Yeah, but they may be a slight, only because it's a much tougher opponent.
I just think like the home field advantage is not going to make the 49ers a favorite.
Yeah, it might be a pick 'em game. It could be a pick 'em.
At worst, it'll be a pick 'em.
No, I'm telling you. Because if all you have to do is look at common opponents. If the 49ers are playing against the Dallas Cowboys, what's the Dallas Cowboys record? Dallas is what?
12-5.
Two games behind the Eagles? Yeah. Okay. And you just got done playing against a Giants team that coming into this game, they were 9-6-1, okay? We expected for the Eagles to handle the New York Giants in this manner, okay? We're looking at the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, it couldn't have played out any better for the Philadelphia Eagles, in my opinion, okay? Because we got a team that we knew that we could beat, and then you got Dallas that's got to get on the plane and fly to San Francisco and play one of the most physical games that they're going to play all year long. They're going to beat the hell out of each other. They're going to limp out of Candlestick Park or whatever the heck it's called, whatever it's called now.
Levi Stadium.
Levi Stadium. And then Either Dallas is going to have to fly halfway across the country, or San Francisco is going to have to fly all the way across the country to come here and play.
Right,
Couldn't have worked out any better.
Right.
And I get it, and we'll talk about that obviously in due time. I just want to say one thing about the Giants, because we do the show at Ocean Casino. This is the third. There's a lot of Giants fans that come down here, obviously, Atlantic City. They come down from New York and North Jersey and the whole bit. This is the third time we've seen them limp out of this joint, right, this season. But to boot, I just want to say that you can't – the Giants had a cute season. I get it. But you can't be proud of the fact that in the fourth quarter, down 28-7, they punted on 4th and 6. They waved a white flag like I've never seen any team do.
Yeah. At that point, they had cashed it in, because I'm thinking, why are you not going for it? Even if you don't get it, you've got to try it to make it respectable. They waved the white flag and just said, you know what?
With 14 minutes left.
14 minutes left in the game. They basically just said, you know what, let's just get off the field and try to make this as respectable as possible. And oh, by the way, they still kept giving up points after that. So they knew they were beat. They knew they were beaten at halftime.
Hey, listen.
They knew they couldn't do anything with this team by halftime.
Six out of their first 10 possessions, the Eagles scored.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They did the smart thing. Punt the ball.
No, it's not you. Come on, Seth.
Punt the ball,
people,
man.
You're saying that?
Punt the ball.
It's 28.
Because
what are you doing? You salvage your pride?
Because the next possession, the Eagles with their backups in, Kenneth Gainwell rips off a 33-yarder.
Well, who cares if you're going to give up another touchdown down 28-7?
Come on,
you're talking about get back in the game.
About 40. You're talking about 45, 52 points that you're potentially giving up.
So
They're
what?
not doing that.
What does it matter if they gave up 52 points?
Because you got to have some kind of pride when you walk out of here, man.
What is this, like a hockey game?
No,
seriously.
No,
but you can't. Pride.
Hey, listen, the same way in week 1 when he pulled his kids to the side and asked them whether they wanted to go for 2 for the win or go for 1 in the tie, and whatever they chose, that's what he went. He could have destroyed that by doing what you're talking about tonight, by putting them in a position to be even more embarrassed on the national stage than they were. They weren't coming back to win that game. They were not coming back, Mike, to win that game.
To get within 2
there's
touchdowns.
No try.
All right,
they were like the little train that could, D-Gun.
You're exactly right. And they couldn't. They couldn't.
Giants fans, for the third time, trying to I hope you get home safely. And the way you do that is to get your car insurance, right? So here's how to save 40% on your car insurance right now. Here's a message from our friends at Del Val Insurance.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Val Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
All right, so Lehocky Postgame show and a route today that we're talking about. And one of the things, it's very interesting to me that, we looked at the mismatches that A.J. Brown would have a field day. A.J., after his first catch, really wasn't a factor in this game. They won this game without significant contributions from their top guy, A.J. Brown.
Did you see late in the game that coaches went over to talk to him? He didn't seem too happy about something. Now, I'm not going to read anything into it, but he only had 3 catches for 22 yards in this game today.
He was targeted 6 times.
They scored 38 points, and they didn't need A.J. Brown to put up any points on the board. I mean, how potent can an offense be? Seriously.
Really, I mean, see, this is the thing. The Eagles look so spectacular, and I go, okay, but the Giants were just beaten down. I mean, one team was so much better than the other, and I'm trying to read how that translates from this point on.
Well,
do I need another game?
That's the effects of having extended time off compared to playing on short week and not having a lot of time to rest, and it showed because it gave, like Lane Johnson, that much longer to get ready to play the game. It gave Jalen Hurts that extra week to rest that shoulder and get ready to play a game of this magnitude. And, you look at the Giants team, They won a game that a lot of people expected them to win, but they took some nicks, and sometimes it takes longer than 5 or 6 days for those bumps and bruises to heal to get on the horse again to play that next game. And they came in here like they were still trying to heal up from that Vikings game.
Speaking of Lane Johnson, Lane will join us next for the first time in several weeks. Lane Johnson back with us, played the whole game. Looked early like he tweaked the groin a little bit, and he seemed to be favoring it, but he gutted through it. So we're going to find out from Lane Johnson how healthy he is and how this team now reacts to just a dominant win over the New York Giants in their first playoff game. It is the Pond Lehocky Eagles postgame show live at Ocean Casino. I'm Mike Musnelli, Derek Gunn, Seth Joyner, and Devin Caney going to join us a little later. Lane Johnson's up next. Don't go anywhere.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
For the big story on Action News,
search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pond Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Welcome to Pond Lehocky. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Jeff D'Ambrosio doesn't need a special event to appreciate his customers. Jeff shows his appreciation to them every day of the year. Jeff makes sure to stock more new inventory than anyone and guarantees prices and payments that nobody can beat. There are so many reasons that thousands of customers know Jeff is the easy, friendly place to do business. More for their trades. No judgment zone for credit issues. The best, most reliable service department in the country. That's why I like Jeff, and I know you will too. Jeff will satisfy you every day. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Owner Appreciation Event.
It's the Lehocky Eagles postgame show. We're doing it live from Ocean Casino. I'm Mike Missinelli, Derek Gunn, and Seth Joyner. And boy, this is a sight for sore eyes because this is the segment we talked to Lane Johnson. So good to see him back today. We missed him, and certainly we missed him on this show. Gutted it out all game long. The first test on that core muscle tear. So Lane Johnson joining us from the Eagles locker room. We get him situated there. Lane, I guess a tremendous victory for you guys. But I have to ask you, first of all, how are you feeling? How's the health? It looked like you were struggling a little bit with it today in pain, but you gutted it through. Tell us how it feels right now.
Yeah, it was a good win. I felt like we were consistent, in the run game for most of the duration. I felt real iffy the first quarter because I haven't really set on a bull rush. I mean, I practiced, I moved in practice, but I haven't really had the anchor. So after that, my confidence went up a little bit and ended up playing. So, man, yeah, I felt better than what I expected.
Hey, Lane, 44 rushing attempts tonight for this offense, 268 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. This running game tonight looked more dominant than it had in the past 4 to 5 weeks. What was the difference with you guys having the ability to run the football with authority tonight?
I think it was just, it started out early. I think we got some good chunks early. We had that one pass, I think, to Devontae very early in the game, and then after that, the run game kind of took over. I feel like Shane felt the rhythm was going, and we just kept attacking. And really, I felt like you saw a real balanced attack with the running backs, too, so everybody was getting good chunks.
Lane, you guys stand right there on the run. You guys are ranked 5th in the National Football League in running the football at 147 yards per game. Do you ever get the sense that this offense is really built around your guys' ability to run the ball? And if you guys would just commit to it, that it would open up everything else offensively for you guys?
Yeah, like I said, a lot of it depends on the early game rhythm. Those first couple drives are critical for kind of the tone you're trying to set. So, we had that one big play action pass early, and then after that, we just kept, consecutively getting chunks on the ground. But man, if you come and watch our practice, all we do is hit bags and stout. So, I mean, when we're not running plays, we're on those bags. So, we've been doing that for a long time.
Lane, listen, we don't have to tell you, but there was a lot of concern from fans, the 2 concerns about whether Jalen would be 100%, whether you would be 100%. And, I know you don't want to reveal a lot about your injury, but it seems like you were able to survive it. Are you sore right now? And the second part of that question is, could you tell in practice that Jalen was ready to play today?
Yeah, he looked good. To be honest, when I was going to practice, I was focusing on my assignment and getting through that and trying to feel decent. But, really after the first drive, after sitting on the bull rush one time, I gained some more confidence. But it was, it was iffy the first quarter. After that, I settled in.
Hey, Lane, I want to stay on your injury for just a moment because when you got injured, you admitted that you're going to have surgery after the season all said and done. Obviously, having an extra week to get ready for a game like this is huge. What do you do to prepare? What do you do? What kind of treatments do you do? I know you're not going to give everything away, but what do you do to overcome that mentally more so than physically?
Stay in the treatment room, but I think really testing it. So, whatever angle I was in, that my adductor tore, my groin tore, I try to get to that flexion and try to test it out and be stable in those in range positions. So a lot of that and just staying consistent with it. Really, I think I was talking to Cam Jordan. I think he had something similar a few years ago. I think in 2020, and he was like, "Man, it's just one of those things that it takes a little bit from you, but as a player, you got to evolve. You got to make it work."
Wow.
Hey, Lane, obviously, you as an offensive player, you're focused on, what's going on your side of the ball. How awesome is it, to watch this defense go to work? 227 total yards, 5 sacks, a caused fumble that they didn't get, the other team, and one turnover. I know once you're off the field, Stout has got you guys making adjustments and whatnot, but how cool is it to stand on the sideline and watch these guys on the other side of the ball go to work and compliment what you guys are doing?
like I said, man, a lot of these first 2, 3, 4 drives can really set the tone for the game, and they did that. Just guys that are so physically talented and work hard and work together as a group. And when they have performances like that, man, they're a lot of trouble for offenses. So, yeah, man, here's one right now for the limp ball coming. Yeah, man. Even when the guys got in at the end of the game, they were balling too. The young guys.
I mean, the offensive line allowed 3 pressures all night, which is pretty spectacular. What were you expecting the Giants' defense to do? Because you handled them pretty well.
Those guys inside. Dexter Lawrence is coming to his own. The best nose in the league. He's a presence. Leonard Williams, Thibodeau's really good. Ward, they're pretty solid up front. I just feel like I said, I feel like we stay consistent with it. Really from early on.
Hey, Lane, you guys had 416 yards of offense in this game tonight. I want you to describe to me exactly where this offense is. Has it peaked at the right time? Is it still an offense, as crazy as it may sound after 18 games, is it still an offense that's evolving and can get even better?
Yeah, I feel like it's an offense that, if we have some setbacks, then we can adjust. So whether it's in the pass game or run game, we have the talent and ability to do that. And then it's really about taking what the defense gives us.
Lane, short and sweet. A lot of people question what was going on with this offense over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. I know you're the guy that normally embodies the whole underdog thing, but internally, talk to me about how you guys felt about the outside chatter that was going on. I know you guys don't listen to it, but I do know you hear it.
Yeah, it's the thing is you really got to practice blocking out distractions. Really, it's a very hard job to do. And really, if you can go in every day and when you walk out the building, you're exhausted and you feel like you put in work, then you don't have nothing to suck your head about. But yeah, the past few weeks have been weird. Guys have been in and out. Just guys battling, and that's where the veteran leadership, guys, BG, Fletch, Kels, guys that have been in the building for a long time, they'll begin to take over. Limbaugh, Sue.
Lane, last question from me. You'll play the winner of the game tomorrow. A, will you watch that game? And B, who do you want?
I probably won't watch it. I don't know. Both are. From my point of view, when I look at it, got a very talented pass rush either way. So, with Bosa, the Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, stout fronts, both of them. So that's my focus.
Hey, Lane, what does Sirianni say to you guys after this dominant win tonight?
He said good job, and he said to enjoy the day off tomorrow, rest, and then and get our focus back. That's really what the message was, and that was really it.
Lane, go get you a couple of Miller Lights, man, to rehydrate. We'll see you next week. Congrats, my man.
Bud Light.
Sorry about that.
Lane, thanks so much. Good to see you back on the show and in the lineup. Thanks so much. That's Lane Johnson, the Eagles right tackle, live from Lincoln Financial Field as the Eagles win 38-7. Interesting. So he says he probably won't watch the game. Seth, as a player, is it a benefit for you to watch the game, or do you want to stay away from it?
Well, listen, what you're going to get is you're going to get a 4-game breakdown to begin with when they come in and they start practicing for whoever it is they're going to play next week. And to be honest with you, they're going to see that film multiple times throughout the week. They're going to see it, during practice time, in meeting rooms. They're going to see it in cut-ups and breakdowns. They're going to see it in cue cards out on the field. Trust me, they're going to see it. They're going to see everything that they need to see. So if tomorrow's a day of complete rest, where, they're working on their body, they may even be at the facility, getting in the cold tub and the hot tub and the steam, the sauna, getting a massage, getting treatment, whatever it is. If they deem that to be more important than watching the game, God bless them, man.
As weird as it sounds, Mike and Seth, I've known Lane a long time. Very seldom does he watch football games. He says, I'm going to see enough of the next opponent in film sessions all week. You think a lot of these guys watch football after they play a game? A lot of them don't. They get away from the game. They clear their minds. They have families. They have other outside interests. They don't watch a lot of football games.
That's all right. I mean, listen, whatever works for him. Seth, I would think you would be a guy that would watch.
Oh, I watch everything.
Yeah.
If there's a football game on,
I mean,
I'm watching.
when you were into playoffs, were you watching the opponent play?
No, because I was.
You weren't. Okay.
I was a film junkie anyway.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter. If I was in this situation, somehow, some way, the Eagles, the Eagles film crew, they're going to have that game film by the time it's over tomorrow night. Okay. So any player that requests it, it's already either going to be uploaded on their Microsoft or their iPad. They're going to have access to it. So just because they might not watch it live, that doesn't mean they're not watching. I guarantee you, the coaches, Jalen Hurts, all of them players, whatever the circumstances are, when that game is over tomorrow night, they'll be watching that game tomorrow night.
I guess it makes sense to get away from football and refresh and not get overburdened with it since you're going to be attacked.
See, I was a football junkie, so if there's something on, I'm watching it.
And I'm era, dude. New era, different players, man. Your era, you guys.
No, listen.
You lived and breathed football.
I get it, but if I had the kind of technology that they had,
right.
I mean, I had to break down. I had to get the stack of beta tapes and go through all the cut-ups. I had to take the VHS home and put it in my VHS at the house. These guys got it all on their iPad, on their computer. If they want to,
Microsoft Pros,
if they want to play, all they got to do is punch in the code and get the play. I had to put the tape in, fast forward all the way to the third quarter to get that one play if I wanted to see it.
With that line going across the screen.
That's what I'm saying. If I had the kind of technology that these guys had, if a player scratches behind, I could tell you why.
All right, let's take a break. The Diamond Debate is coming up. Devin Caney will join us on the Lehocky Eagles postgame show again. 38-7, a rout in the Eagles' first playoff game. NFC title game is going to be in Philly. We're back after this.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
My husband hadn't missed work in 15 years. His injury required months of rehabilitation, and unfortunately, the insurance company didn't see it that way. I was working 2 jobs, but it wasn't enough. One conversation with Pond Lehocky changed everything. We sat down, told him our story, and they guided us through the whole workers' compensation legal process.
Pond Lehocky. Tell us your story.
Postgame show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Postgame, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Celebrating the life of your loved one is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givenish.
My son Kellen was a lively, vivacious, and sassy child. At the age of 4.5, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and he had a very short battle of only 10 months before he lost his life.
Life Celebrations by Givenish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew that I wanted to celebrate the life of my 5-year-old. And knowing his personality and knowing who he was at the core, that had to be something special.
Turning tragedy into a celebration of life, no matter how hard, is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givenish. Life Celebrations by Givenish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Welcome back to the Lehocky Postgame Show. I'm Devin Caney. It's time for our Diamond Debate presented by Mark's Jewelers. And guys, Mark's really hooked me up tonight. They outdid themselves. They gave me a necklace. They gave me these beautiful earrings. They gave me bracelets on top of bracelets. And they even gave me a band for my Apple Watch that's blinged out. Wow. I mean, Seth Joyner, this like rivals what you're wearing over there with that blue. You're also in Giants colors, I have to say.
Listen,
I had to call it out. I noticed it earlier.
You brought it up. People have been talking about it on social media all night. I do not lay out my clothes in connection with who the Eagles are playing or who the opponent is. I dress for me.
Okay.
So I'm wearing this blue.
Little blue velvet.
All I'll say is I was going to wear red tonight, and then I said no because they were Giants colors.
And?
I thought I'd be yelled at.
Were you afraid that the Giants was going to win?
I was afraid that our viewers and everyone would call me out on it. And also, that's just bad juju. Maybe not for you. I feel like I would
bad
be projecting
juju,
bad energy.
Not against the Giants. We own the Giants.
Well, that is a perfect seg. Diamond Debate is presented by Mark's Jewelers. Of course, the Eagles are officially advancing to the NFC Championship game next Sunday. So the question that I will pose to you guys, and that I'm sure will be discussed throughout the week, who would you rather face, the Cowboys or the 49ers? You can vote and weigh in on the community section of the YouTube page and also on the JAKIB Twitter page. Right now, Cowboys winning by 57%, 49ers 43%. I can't say I agree with the majority here, guys.
You looking at me? You want me to go first?
Listen, I'd rather they play the Cowboys.
Why?
I'd much rather than play the Cowboys.
It's an easy answer to this. It's definitely the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are, to me, the more beatable team right now than the 49ers.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Really?
The 49ers haven't beat a decent team in like 11 weeks.
They
haven't played a team with a winning record.
Yeah, but they won 10 in a row.
11 in a row.
11 in a row.
Yeah.
They have the #1 ranked defense in the National Football League, and the addition of Christian McCaffrey to that offense, it was downright criminal to me. You remember a couple of years ago when they tried to get Chris Paul traded to the Lakers, and Adam Silver nixed the trade? Yeah. That's what they should have done with this Chris McCaffrey trade. Because I'm telling you right now, he is a game changer for that offense. He makes the job that Brock Purdy has to do so easy. He can run, he can block, He can catch the ball out of the backfield. You can line him up, out in formation. And every time he touches the ball, you're like holding your breath because the dude can take it to the house at any time. Then you add a healthy George Kittle to the mix. You add a healthy Deebo Samuel back to the mix. Every once in a while, Brandon Ayuk wakes up, and they've got a pretty darn good, offensive line. So all Brock Purdy has to do is not screw it up.
So you're less, I don't want to say afraid. So you would rather face Dak Prescott over Brock Purdy?
Absolutely, because what you saw out of Dak Prescott last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was fool's gold. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers had no business in the playoffs, okay? And they went down there and they took them apart at home. It was like pros playing against a JV high school team. That's how bad they look. Up until that game, Dak just looked awful. He was a turnover machine. Yeah. All of a sudden, he went down there. He looked like a Pro Bowl quarterback this year.
Yeah, no, that's true. They look horrible.
Here's the thing, though. I'd much rather play Dallas's defense than the 49ers defense. Yeah. Dallas's back end of the defense is very undisciplined. And when Dallas gets in trouble, they start pointing fingers. 49ers defense is so regimented. They're so focused. Their defensive coordinator, hopefully he gets a head coaching job because he's such a good dude and he learned his lesson well from Robert Saleh. He has that team so focused right now. They're a more physical defense. Dallas gets a lot of accolades for their pass rush. Their pass rush hasn't been as successful the last month of the season as it was the first half of the season. I'd much rather face that Cowboys secondary than to face the 49ers front seven. Listen,
I totally agree with you. And here's the thing. The best part of the Eagles is their offense, right? So a better defensive team.
Wait a minute, you said the best part of the Eagles is their offense?
Well, the Eagles are a prolific offense. Let's leave it at that. Okay, their defense. I don't want to.
You're talking to a defensive guy now.
I don't want to offend a defensive guy. But their offense is prolific. To beat the Eagles at home, you would have to stop them. And I think the 49ers are more capable than the Dallas Cowboys in stopping the Eagles from scoring 30. If they score 30, they're going to win the game. So I would be much more afraid of playing a 49er defense that is going to have probably 2 wins at home. They're going to bring that confidence. I know it's a long trip, but you're bringing the confidence of 2 wins at home to Lincoln Financial Field. So that's a tougher game. The Eagles will be favored by 4.5 against Dallas.
Well,
I don't know if I agree with that because I think when you get to the AFC championship game, I think you're playing the best 2 teams out of each conference. And I also believe that you have to be on top of your game on offense and defense. I don't think that one side of the ball carries the other. Now, one can be a deficiency to your ability to win, but I don't think you win unless all 3 phases of your football team are clicking at maximum capacity.
I get that, but look how the Eagles got off to a start today, Seth. I mean, they got ahead right away. When they get ahead, they're a really tough team to beat.
There's no doubt about it. But let's also talk about what the Eagles defense did to the Giants. If you want, it's okay to give the offense accolades. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, but they go 8 plays, they turn it over on downs. The New York Giants do. They go 2 plays on their second possession. He throws the interception. Then they go punt, punt, punt. That's the first half.
All right,
Come on now.
Are you telling me you'd rather you're agreeing with us, right? You'd rather face Dallas than the 49ers?
No, absolutely. But I'm just saying, to your point, that this team is driven by what you see on offense. This team is driven by a balance of what you see on offense and defense. And if you look at the first half, okay, turnover on downs, interception, punt, punt, punt. That's the first half. Offensively for the Eagles, 8 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. 9 plays, 52 yards, touchdown. Punt, 9 plays, 63 yards, touchdown. 14 plays, 72 yards, touchdown. That's your first half.
So we're you guys 3 for 3 on preferring the Cowboys over the 49ers. Now the question is, do you think the Cowboys will actually beat the 49ers tomorrow?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't see that happening at all.
I'm not going to go so far as to say no, because if you look at how bad Brock Purdy played in the first half of that game last week, in that wild card game, okay, for the first time you saw some chinks in the armor, okay? and they're going to have to throw the ball in order to run. They're not going to just be able to just come out and run the ball. They're going to be committed to running it, and they're going to do some tricky things. You know, that's what Kyle Shanahan does. But if Brock Purdy can't flip the switch from the first half to the second half like he did last week against Seattle, they're going to have some problems winning that football game.
Well, I think he had to get rid of those jitters. I mean, he had never been on a stage like that before.
And guess what? The noose gets tighter this week.
Oh, sure it does. Absolutely.
The
but
air gets
the good thing
thinner
for
this
him,
week.
though, is he's playing that game in his backyard. If he was going down to Dallas, might be a little bit different story. Might not be able to recover from the first half jitters. But because he's got that game in his backyard, he knows every little divot on the field. More so than going down to the Cowboys Stadium. I think he settles in a lot quicker in this game against the Cowboys than he did that first game against Seattle.
What's the line on this game?
What is the line, Mike?
The
game tomorrow.
3.
Yeah.
It's 3.
So 49ers favored by 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a close line.
But that's what I'm saying.
It could go either way.
That's what I'm saying. It says a lot. The 3 only means that just because you're at home, you get the 3. But I'm not 100% sold that the San Francisco 49ers are going to run away with this game. I'm not. I think that Dallas.
I didn't say run away. I think it's going to be hard fought.
Huh?
I think it's going to be a hard fought game.
Oh, listen, I hope it's hard fought. I hope they beat the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
I hope they both limp out of, what's the name of that?
Levi
Stadium. I hope they both limp out of there. And then they get
Candlestick Park. It's called.
It's a Candlestick Park.
Hey, man, listen.
Willie Mays plays there.
Which was one of the biggest dumps in all of pro football.
I played there, okay? So I remember where I played.
All right, so that game is happening tomorrow, and the Eagles will find out their fate for the NFC Championship game. Again, if you guys want to weigh in, you can go to the JAKIB Media Twitter page and vote on who you'd rather have the Eagles play next week. And until then, we'll be back with our Jeff D'Ambrosio Auto Group drive of the game.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pond Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
My name is Fran Salerno. I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, President of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
Welcome to Pond Lehocky. we've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Jeff D'Ambrosio doesn't need a special event to appreciate his customers. Jeff shows his appreciation to them every day of the year. Jeff makes sure to stock more new inventory than anyone and guarantees prices and payments that nobody can beat. There are so many reasons that thousands of customers know Jeff is the easy, friendly place to do business. More for their trades. No judgment zone for credit issues. The best, most reliable service department in the country. That's why I like Jeff, and I know you will too. Jeff will satisfy you every day. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Owner Appreciation Event.
Welcome back to the Lehocky Postgame Show. It is time for our Jeff D'Ambrosio Auto Group Drive of the Game. GoJeffAuto.com. All right, guys. I feel like in recent weeks we've been out of character in this segment, kind of struggling to find good drives. I think we have plenty to choose from in this game, especially in the first half. Eagles put up 28 points. Did only put up 10 in the second half, but can't really complain there. So who wants to go first? I'm not going to pick on anyone tonight.
I'll go first.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go with the second drive of the game. Now, the first drive was so important because they went right down the field, so they had the lead. But the drive that made it 14-0 was only 52 yards. I mean, 8 plays, 52 yards. But it had two of the craftiest plays I've seen. And this is an illustration of how well coached that was. It was the great call when they went on a fake quarterback sneak alignment and they flipped it out the game well. They got him a first down on that play. And then they got to they got the ball down the field deep, and they had the two wide receiver alignment and the mini bubble screen to Devontae Smith on the outside, which was a crafty call. It was Hurts' 7th straight completion, and that gave him the 14-0 lead. Those two plays, coming off the heels of them stopping the Giants on downs with what Reddick did, I thought transformed the game and put it right in their favor.
I am going to go with the initial drive of the game because coming into this game, there was so much speculation about how's Lane, how's Jalen. 2 plays into the game, Jalen unloads a 40-yard strike to Devonta Smith. Later in the drive, Jalen takes off on a 6-yard run. Harmless 6-yard run, but he let you know that he's back. He took the hit, let you know that he was back. But the capper was Dallas Goedert makes this one-hand catch, splits tacklers, and dives in for the touchdown. That brought the house down. That drive, the finishing play brought the house down, set the tone for what was to come. I don't disagree with Mike, but just to be different, I'm going to go with that as my drive of the game.
And that Devontae catch, I feel like that was when, I mean, really early in the game, but I was like, okay, they're back. The Eagles that we've seen throughout most of the regular season are back. Seth?
I'm going to agree with D. Gunn, partly because that first drive, bar none, is the most important drive of the game because it answered all the questions. It checked all the boxes. You know, was Jalen 100%? Was Lane going to be able to make it through the game? You know, what was the mindset of the coaches going to be? They came out in the first play of the game, they ran the football. And I can't go that second series because I can't stand them damn bubble screens that they run that only work 25% of the time, Mike Missinelli.
but A.J. Brown lined up with Devontae, made a great block on that play.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate that when a wide receiver blocks.
Do we have time for a question of the game?
We do.
What the hell happened to Quez Watkins today?
Well, or A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown only had, I think, 17.
No, I'm talking about even plays.
I don't even know if he
didn't get a target. I don't even know how many.
He
dressed today?
Yeah. He was on the field. I saw him 1 or 2 plays. But Zach Pascal actually started the game as the third receiver today.
He didn't make a catch. I don't know if he was targeted either. I agree. Who? Quez Watkins.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He was a mystery man today.
And I wonder what happened. Was it something that went wrong, you know, in practice this week?
Well, have we seen much from Quez since I think it definitely against the Cowboys in the game before that, where he didn't really fight for the ball and then it ended up in a turnover.
Yeah, but we were talking about it tonight when Jalen overthrew that ball to A.J. Brown in the end zone, the deep ball.
Yeah.
I turned to the guys and I'm like, that's a Quez Watkins play. Why isn't he in the game going to get those balls? Because A.J. Brown is your number one. There's no doubt about it. But A.J. wasn't going to get that ball. Quez would have hit another gear and went and got that ball. Those are his types of plays, not the slant routes that he got out muscled against Dallas about.
We were talking about that, though, and I remember us having a discussion at the time. Maybe now it's time for Pascal. He doesn't want to fight for the ball. Maybe they were sending a message today with him.
Yeah, I think the game plan was to run the football. They ran the ball 44 times for 268 yards. And if you're going to do that, you need wide receivers that are willing to block. A.J. Brown and Zach Pascal will block. Quez Watkins, not so much maybe.
Yeah, no, I don't know why. Maybe they're sending a message. Maybe they were disappointed in what he did earlier in the season. Doesn't seem like a playoff game is the type of thing to send a message for.
No. Last time we seen that it happened with New England and a Super Bowl winning cornerback kind of disappeared and no explanation was ever given.
The only time you send a message in a game like this, to play off of what Devin is saying about, a playoff game is not when you want to send a message. It's when you have a team that's that deep in talent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so that's what I've heard a lot with A.J. Brown's lack of production today. A lot of people are saying, they're saving him for next week, which I don't know if that's...
No. At this point, you don't save anybody.
Right. It's the playoffs. I don't know if they're saving anyone.
Well, I think it's one of those things where, you hear Jalen Hurts talk about it all the time. Whoever's open is going to get the ball. Whoever's in the read and whatever the progression is, they're going to get the ball. It just so happens that, Devontae Smith had 10 targets tonight. I don't think there's been a game all year, maybe one, maybe the first Washington game where he had more targets than A.J. Brown. And I don't know whether A.J. is a little nicked up. I don't know whether he's a little pissed off because he didn't get but 6 targets. But you could tell that he wasn't happy, with the amount of. With his own production and how many times he was targeted today.
He needs to get over that and roll next week.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, that is our Jeff D'Ambrosio Auto Group drive of the game. Go JeffAuto.com and stick around because we have game balls presented by Colony Pools coming up after this break.
Postgame show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Postgame, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Hey Philly, it's Tom Giordano from Pond Lehocky Giordano. Be sure to follow Pond Lehocky on Instagram for your opportunity to win free Eagles home game tickets for the rest of the season. You heard that right. We're giving away free tickets all season long. And guess what? We're going to give away tickets to the playoffs and the Super Bowl. So make sure you're following us. And as always, thanks for watching the Pond Lehocky Postgame Show. Go Birds.
Welcome back to the Pond Lehocky Postgame Show. It is time for Game Balls presented by Colony Pools, flywithcolony.com. All right, we just ended our drive of the game segment saying that A.J. Brown definitely won't receive a game ball, so we won't get into who gets a ball taken away. Who gets your game ball tonight? Mike Missinelli.
I'm going to go Kenneth Gainwell. 112 yards, the first game ball he's gotten all year from this panel. I'll go right out of the chute. And, the easy answer, Jalen Hurts should get the game ball. He came back. He established himself again as the guy who makes this team go. But I can't slate Gainwell today. 12 carries, 112 yards. He had a long of 35. He was running hard. I'll give him the game ball.
Love that choice. D-Gun, what about you?
I want to give it to Hassan Reddick because he was a man possessed, especially in the first half. But in the overall scheme of things, I'm going to give it to Jalen Hurts. We all wondered where would he be. He came out. He answered questions. The second play, offensive play in the game. He finished 16 of 24, $154, but he accounted for 3 touchdowns. And when Jalen Hurts is running that offense, that machine is almost unstoppable. So I'm going to give it to Jalen.
All right, Seth?
I'm going to give my game ball to the defense tonight. I think that the New York Giants really felt like they could come here and have a night tonight like they had against Minnesota last week. And 38 points is a lot of points. The Eagles didn't convert any points off of turnovers, even though they caused one fumble that they didn't recover, and they got one interception. But 227 yards of total offense, 1 turnover, 5 sacks. Daniel Jones had a 53.6 rating. You can't ask for more. Saquon Barkley, they held him to, 61 yards rushing. I mean, what more can you ask your defense to do? They have to complement the offense, and as great as the offense played, I think sometimes, the defense gets overshadowed, and I think this is one of those nights on a big stage in an important game. I think that they made it just as easy for the offense to be operational as the offense made it for them to be operational.
They were so good, they made me almost feel sorry for Daniel Jones.
Why?
Well, because he was just totally lost.
He was lost.
I felt
He was
sorry
seeing
for him.
ghosts.
He didn't know what to do.
You act like you've never seen that picture before.
I will never feel sorry for an opposing team under any circumstances.
I said almost.
Okay, all right.
What a unique problem to have, though. Feeling sorry for the opposing quarterback because your team is just so
Oh,
good.
that's just Mike. He just showing the world that he's got a heart. Me and D-Gun, we're heartless.
That's right. I will say this, though. Unless a player is seriously injured, then you have compassion for him.
Yeah.
But in terms of just gamesmanship, I will never feel sorry for an opponent.
Come on, man, really?
He was
Can you step out of the frame, please? Thank
looked
you.
like he was. It looked like he was running up. You going to jack somebody up here or what?
I just don't understand why people got to be so rude, okay?
That's the world we live in, man.
That's a TV show.
It's the world we
It's
live
like
in.
they've never seen in a mirror.
It's a
seen
TV
themselves
show.
In a
My
mirror
goodness.
before.
Trying
They're
to be
like,
funny.
oh, that's me.
If you want to see what you look like, go to your room and stand in front of your mirror.
Exactly.
Okay, so those are our game balls presented by Colony Pools. Flywithcolony.com. Stick around. John McMullen's coming up after this break.
My wife was in an accident that changed our lives forever. She was in rehabilitation for years. She had to learn to walk again. She couldn't take care of herself. We couldn't afford a nurse. We were running out of options. One conversation with Lehocky changed everything. They understood what we were going through and immediately helped us navigate the legal process. We can't thank them enough.
Lehocky. Tell us your story.
Plan your day with confidence.
Keep the umbrellas on hand.
With Action News and AccuWeather.
Numerous tornadoes.
Your go-to team when severe weather strikes.
The water is still rising.
Keeping you prepared wherever you watch. Action News and AccuWeather, the team you trust.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Val Insurance Group.
Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that. Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Is the Lehocky Eagles post-game show live at Ocean Casino. You're watching us, 6abc.com or the JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. I'm Mike Maselli, Derek Gunn, and Seth Joyner. All right, it's time for a 2-minute drill as we kind of go over what happened in this game. A total domination by the Eagles, 38-7. And we had some weird things happen in this game. So before I get to the 2-minute drill, questions for you guys. I don't think I've ever seen early in a game the 10-yard chain got busted up, and they had to go to a reserve chain. Have you ever seen that happen?
I have never seen that happen, and on top of that, then they show an ISO shot of the chain being taped to the pole. Now, that slowed the game down a good, 5 minutes? And I'm thinking, these games are long enough, although the NFL did announce that this year, for the first time since 1993, the games are a lot shorter. The games have been averaging across the board 3 hours, 2 minutes, which I don't believe. But I'm thinking, man, we're going to be here all night waiting for a doggone chain to be replaced. Then they bring a chain out, and it's all wrapped up. They got to unwrap it.
First of all, I was shocked that they had a backup chain. I thought they had to run to Home Depot on Delaware Avenue up the street and get a chain. But the second thing is, you're right about the tangle. It's like, you have a 100-foot, one of those 100-foot orange extension cords, and you can never get it wrapped right.
I go through it all the time.
It was the same thing with this damn chain. They bring it out, they still.
I'm like, seriously? Are you kidding me? We're waiting. The game's delayed because of a broken chain.
Wait. I've never seen it.
Philadelphia gamesmanship.
Psychological ploy.
They took the Giants got like 8 yards on the play, and then the next thing you know, you had a delay. Took them out of rhythm. They didn't have any water in their hotel last night.
Yeah.
No,
this morning.
The
whole hotel did not have water.
There you go, Philadelphia gamesmanship.
Let me ask you this, Seth, though. I know we're getting off the subject here. But with today's technology, you find it odd they still have to use the chain with the sticks and don't have a laser or something that could calculate the 10 yards?
Well, listen, old habits die hard, man. And I mean, could there be some type of, improved technology? Well, there has been. Because, back in my day, the numbers, they used to flip them. Now at least, they got the little levers and they look better. They're lightweight.
Aesthetically better.
So when you run into them, like I've run into those chains, the poles before, and when you're like running at one of those guys that's holding them, when they see you coming, they just let it go. They just drop it. So I've like bent up one of those chains before. I've broken the chain before on the sideline.
What,
so,
in a fit of rage?
No, during the play.
Oh, during the play.
Making a tackle.
I thought you snapped it.
Making a tackle where you can hit the guy out in the white.
All right, let's get into our 2-minute drill. So the first question is the obvious question. It's the broad, vague question. Are they back to what we saw early in the year where they were the number one team without question in the NFC?
I would have to say yes based on this performance. Go back to the first time they played the Giants when they ran for 253 yards on the Giants. Leading up to this game, you heard a lot of people on the outside looking in saying, yeah, well, the Giants were beat up on defense. They didn't have Leonard Williams, didn't have Adoree Jackson, didn't have Xavier McKinney in the back end of that defense. Oh, well, those guys were healthy tonight. They ran for 268 on them tonight. So I think that shuts up that notion. For whatever reason, the running game was stagnant. The running game blew it wide open tonight. That's a significant reason why they won this game tonight. It's because they dominated the trench warfare in this game.
Seth?
Listen, I felt all along that, the key to this offense and this defense and this team performing at the level that we saw tonight was, having Jalen Hurts back. And if he's back 100% after being 5 weeks on the shelf, so to speak, then this team is a dangerous football team. They are right there, what we expected, and what we had come to expect, I should say, them to be when they were 12-0, 12-1, 13-1, up to 14-1. So I think they're there. I think that, this team thrives off the leadership of Jalen Hurts. They thrive off of, his play on the field, the way he sells out what he's willing to do. He's not going to ask those guys as a leader to do something that he's not willing to do. And he's showing that by, okay, I'll run the ball, I'll throw the ball, I'll slide, I'll do whatever I got to do to win the game. And when you see your quarterback willing to do that, the rest of the team is willing to do that, and they played that way all season long. So I think they are back.
All right. Question 2. And this is something that wasn't revealed today. We always worried about linebackers and coverage, especially when it comes to a tight end. They didn't have to face that today. The Giants really didn't have a tight end threat that was going to test their linebacker coverage. But these two teams, they're going to play tomorrow, and one survivor is going to have that guy. Are we worried about that at all?
I think we should be, because when you look at a guy like George Kittle, he's one of the most physical, athletic tight ends in the game today. He's definitely in the top 5 among tight ends in the National Football League. Dalton Schultz for the Cowboys has been an emerging tight end all season long, has the ability to get separation. There's one aspect we've had inconsistencies with is covering the tight ends coming off the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, that's a genuine concern that the Eagles have to try to shore up getting ready for whoever they play next week.
I think that Jonathan Gannon is going to have to make some adjustments next week, and I think he's going to have to figure out a way to balance it up. When the Eagles get in trouble as far as the tight ends are concerned, more times than not they'll go to dime, and even when they go to dime, they will take Kazir White off the field, and they'll go man with T.J. Edwards in the hole. I don't feel like that coverage necessarily works, because you're losing a guy in coverage, and TJ is not the type of linebacker that you drop in the hole like in Tampa 2 or in any other coverage to be a hole player. He doesn't have the speed, to be able to get to, and he's not very good at reading the quarterback's eyes. So there's going to be a problem, because I think the better teams realize that the middle of the field is where you can really attack this Eagles defense in the passing game. You can really make hay there. If you go back and you look at the games where they've had problems with tight ends catching balls up the seams, crossing routes, guys not communicating pre-snap, even in man situations, in zone situations, not passing off routes and things of that nature. So I think that Jonathan Gannon has to realize that whether you're talking about the Cowboys, because they did that to us in the second game, or whether you're talking about Kyle Shanahan and his ability to take film and break down, your weaknesses. They're going to see that glaring weakness, and they're going to attack it. They're going to get there. They're going to go spread with a tight end or Christian McCaffrey out the backfield, and they're going to try to operate in the middle of the field. And if Jonathan Gannon doesn't have an answer for it, it's going to be problematic.
All right, third question is about Lane Johnson. And we kind of took him for granted today. You could tell he was hurting. There were a lot of plays where you saw him kind of hitch a little bit. So give me your evaluation of how he survived this game and what we can expect as these games get bigger in merit.
Well, I would say first and foremost, mind over matter. because, when it comes to him, it don't matter. If he can walk, hobble, limp, whatever he has to do, you're going to have to strap Lane Johnson down to keep him off that football field. He was able to get through that game. It really bothered me initially when you saw him grab at the groin area the first drive of the game. And I'm thinking, I hope he's not going to have to sit the rest of it out. He finished what he started. As I said on the pregame show, it was imperative that Lane was able to finish what he starts, and he did. Now he's got a week to rest up and get ready for an even tougher test, whether they play the Cowboys or whether they play the 49ers. Moving forward, play by play, series by series, is just something that you have to closely watch. He might be able to get through it, but as we all know, and I'm sure Seth can attest to this, one wrong turn, one wrong push one way or the other, and it could be detrimental for Lane.
Well, that instance that you were talking about in the first quarter, where he kind of flinched, I think that was a situation where he got hit from an angle that he wasn't expecting. He was battling his guy. His guy kind of went down inside, and he bumped into Isaac Seumalo, and it kind of tweaked it a little bit. I think Lane's going to be fine. I really do. I think that, the best thing that could have happened tonight is him not having to play against a premier pass rusher. Now, next week he's going to face one. He's either going to face, Bosa. He's going to face, DeMarcus Lawrence. He's going to face, Micah Parsons. He's going to face an elite level guy, and they're going to run some stunts to see if he has the lateral movement and the ability to get in and get back out off of that groin. But, to D-Gun's point, if it don't mind, then it don't matter.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. If he's not thinking about it and he just goes out and plays, then he'll be fine. The minute you start thinking about it is when you start drawing that negativity to yourself, and something's bound to go wrong.
All right, let's bring in the man who covered this game at League of Financial Field today, get his insights. John McMullen joining us. And listen, John, we're sitting here saying they look to be back to the dominant Eagle team that was the best team in the NFC today. What was your view? Now, the opponent was not as superior, and we both knew that their roster was better than the Giants. But what did you make of their dominance today?
Exactly that. I mean, this was not a football game. I think the team that should be most sick about this game is Minnesota, because the Giants shouldn't be here. And the Eagles, to their credit, completely dominated the football game to the point we had 30 minutes of garbage time. I mean, it was over by halftime. The numbers were astonishing. Total yardage, first downs were 18-3. The Giants converted 1 third down, 28-0. Brian Daboll lost the game on the coin toss. I joke around, Jody McDonald is big on this, but if you're the weaker team, you take the football, you try to get on that first drive, you try to shorten the game, and they deferred like everybody defers in the modern NFL. Eagles go right down the field, boom. Essentially, the game was over at that point. I mean, people say not the modern NFL. In this game, it was over. And, that old trope of it's hard to beat a team 3 times. No, it's not. It's really easy when you're better than the team you both the first 2 times, and you know it, and the Eagles did. So you guys were talking about Dallas and San Francisco. They're going to face a good team next week. Doesn't matter which one it is, but it's going to be a much, much tougher challenge than the New York Giants posed tonight.
Hey, John, 2 plays into the game, Jalen Hurts backs up, lets it fly, beautiful 40-yard strike to Devontae Smith. Do you think there was a statement by Jalen to let everybody know, I'm back?
No, I don't think it was a statement. We kind of knew before the game, look, Jalen's not going to be 100% until the season's over, hopefully from the Eagles' perspective after the Super Bowl. And he gets to rest and rehab this thing properly. But we did know the offense was back on the table, 100%. This is the playoffs. You got to win to play next week. So you kind of saw it earlier in the day with Patrick Mahomes suffering the high ankle sprain. He's out there playing, probably shouldn't be playing. That's just the nature of the NFL. And Jalen, everything was on the table. You saw it in that first drive. Not only was he 5 for 5, not only was he throwing the football down the field, but he also ran it twice.
Right.
And, that immediately puts into the head of Wink Martindale, well, we got to worry about this. He might pull it and take it backside. So all of a sudden that creates rushing lanes. And, by the end of the game, you're talking 268 rushing yards. So, but with Jalen's injury, it was always about the contact. It wasn't about the throwing. So I think people were too focused on that. There's a little bit of discomfort, almost a weird feeling when he threw the football. But from the health perspective, the bigger issue was, could he take contact? And the Eagles are far enough off the injury to think he can, or at least to a degree where it can be effective.
John, we talk a lot about this offense and Jalen Hurts, and rightfully so, but, I want to talk to you a little bit about this defense and what they did. 227 total yards of offense they limited the New York Giants to. 1 interception. And the Eagles, over the last 6 games, I want to say, are averaging right around 5 sacks a game. Tonight they had 5 more. The onus always goes on the offense. It always goes on the quarterback. Talk about the importance of what the offense was able to do from a complementary standpoint to what the offense was actually doing.
Yeah, the defense played great. They were part of that 28-0 first half as well. They completely dominated. As I said, they only gave up 3 first down sets, 1 third down conversion. Hassan Reddick was all over Daniel Jones early. I think he set the tone on the pass rush. The corners, James Bradbury gets his revenge on the Giants, Darius Slay. These receivers couldn't get open against those corners. They just couldn't. Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton, Richie James did a little bit in the second half, but the game was over by that point. It was a dominating performance. It was something you typically don't see in the playoffs, and it's rare when I get one exactly right. I got this one exactly right. I thought they would dominate the game. Even it was more dominant than I expected. But I always say styles make fights, and the Giants can't match up with the Eagles. And they can't. They could play 7 more times and the Eagles would win.
So let's look now at next week, John, because they're going to play a team much better than this Giants team. What do you see in either of these opponents that would be the better path for the Eagles to get through?
I think the slightly better path would be the 49ers because, they have a rookie quarterback. And this is a very, very difficult place to play from the standpoint of when these fans get going, it can be intimidating to play here. And I think, from that perspective, as scary as Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams are, they still have the rookie 7th-round quarterback. And I keep waiting for the slipper not to fit and midnight to strike. And I think it's going to. It might happen against Dallas. It's definitely going to happen against Philadelphia. So from that perspective, I would lean a little bit towards the 49ers, even though from 2 through 53, they're probably better than the Cowboys. Not probably, they are. But the Cowboys are a team that if they play, and you saw it in Tampa Bay, if they play at their top level, they can beat anybody. Now, they're inconsistent. They can also lose to teams they shouldn't. So there's no guarantee they're going to come in here and give the Eagles a tough battle. But if they bring their A game, they can beat anybody.
John, when we analyzed every aspect of this game that we possibly could before the game was played out, everybody had their analysis, everybody had their predictions. Now that the game has been said and done, as you look back on the game tonight, what impressed you the most about the way the Eagles played on either side of the football?
The running game. I mean, and it, it was Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell went over 100 yards, most of that in the second half. Boston Scott got his usual touchdown. Doesn't matter who they ran. I think it tells you, and I still think it's about Jalen Hurts, because when you have that threat, it opens up everything for everybody else. And I've said it all year, and you guys have heard me say it. This is not a run-first offense. This is not a pass-first offense. This is a Jalen Hurts first offense. And when he puts that threat on the field and teams think he can pull the football, even if he doesn't, it has such a huge impact on the opposing defense. And then you can run for 268. Or if they over sort of adjust to that and they put extra people in the box, he could throw for 350. He's proven this throughout the year, and that's why they're 15-1 with Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback.
John, it's going to be interesting, whatever the matchup is next week. I hear what you're saying. They're not a run first and they're not a pass first, but I do believe that they're a run-dominant team. I think that when they can run the football, that everything else in their offense opens up. And when they get away from that and they come out and they want to throw the ball often and early and it doesn't go well, it puts them in a very precarious position. I believe that this offensive line is built to run the ball, and then off of everything else that you do, you can get whatever you want. You saw it tonight. Once they got into, they came out the first series, they threw the ball, 5 times and only ran it, 3 times. They march right down the field, they get in the end zone. Then they come out, in their second drive, and they decided they're just going to start pounding the football. But I think the tempo was set once they established that they were going to dominate the line of scrimmage. I think if you don't do that, then you put your offensive line in a defensive position all game long, and if it doesn't work out, you're trying to rewind it and reset the entire game. So I think that even if they're reads, and it requires that Jalen lets that ball go, or whether they call some call run plays where he just turns and hands the ball off to Miles and lets him run it. I think they need to establish that. And I don't know. You tell me whether they've been lulling teams to sleep the last 3 weeks with passing the ball the way that they have, but they really came out and put their nose to the grindstone tonight and just dominated that game on the run.
Well, I think most of the struggles over the last 3 weeks of the regular season had to do with Jalen Hurts' health.
Agreed.
Number one. But as far as, one of the most impressive things about Shane Steichen as a play caller, and this goes back to the entire season when Jalen was healthy, he will pick on what you can't stop. And he's done that consistently. And he said it to us behind the scenes. Green Bay, for instance, wouldn't stop the run. He said, I couldn't believe they didn't change. I couldn't believe they didn't. And he keeps doing it, and he keeps doing it, and he keeps doing it. I think you saw today, the big throw to Devontae Smith down the field. You had the big stiff arm from Dallas Goedert, then the 16-yard touchdown. It was actually the passing game. But Shane quickly saw they weren't going to stop the run. They weren't going to bring extra people. They couldn't do it. He kept going to it. And that's been the strength of him as a play caller. That's going to continue. That's going to continue against San Francisco. It's going to continue against Dallas, whoever comes in here. The execution part of it, that's a big part of it as well. But when the Eagles are clicking on all cylinders, they will take advantage of what the defense can't stop. And they've shown it all year, and it's an incredible versatility, and it's one of the strengths of their team.
John, listen, thank you very much. Here's what we know. We know that there's going to be at least one more big playoff game at Lincoln Financial Field, and we know we're going to see you next week. So
always a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
There he is, John McMullen, covering the game for JAKIB Media. All right, so interesting. He kind of likes the Cowboys. in that spot. They would, So I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to reevaluate this now, Seth. Whoever wins that game, you're right, will come here, and I think the Eagles be a slight favorite over either team, but 1 or 2 points at the max next week. Now, you guys have convinced me now, because if Dallas wins that game, that's a significant win for them, and they'll come here with a little momentum, and I think the Vegas line will reflect that.
But my point is, look, understand when these two teams get together, they have a history. They have a history. I think it's something like 9 or 10, games under these circumstances that they've played historically, and they've always been battles and wars. Back in the 90s when they were trading championships, when you understand what I'm saying, when Dion left and then Dion came back, and then you had Charles Haley added, from the 49ers over to the Dallas Cowboys. Those games were always physical wars, and because back then your body was calcified for war early in training camp and throughout an early part of the season, you were ready for that, that time of the year. Today's football is different, I mean, if these guys get into a full-out war like it used to be back in the day, somebody's limping out of there. And that's the best thing that can happen for the Eagles, is for whoever wins this game to come out battered, sore, and tattered, and realizing that, you know what, we got to fly all the way across the country and play against a team in their backyard that's relatively healthy, and we're a little beat up. Now, the other thing that I would caution you to watch is the emotion of the game, okay? When the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017, Minnesota was coming off a highly emotional win against the New Orleans Saints, okay? I talked about it back then. But when you play a game, your adrenaline level is so high, it's pumping at such a high rate, that sometimes, it's 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning before you can close your eyes and actually rest. Because even though your body's exhausted, you close your eyes, bam, bam. They just keep opening because you got too much adrenaline in your body. So think about how Minnesota, not only the adrenaline that they experience, but, you've got to believe they partied their behinds off after that emotional win. So they come into Philly the next week, and they got about a quarter's worth of emotion left, and all of a sudden, the tank is empty, and the Eagles just wore their behinds out, okay? So now, if you got an emotional game between the Cowboys and the 49ers next week, I would ask you to watch the emotion level, the adrenaline level. Can you get yourself back up again? That's one of the toughest things in the NFL. That's why when people talk about those trap games, to me it's more of, can you get back up week after week after week after week? And I get it. This is the playoffs. This is an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. But the body can only give what it can give.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was one of the major factors whether the Giants could beat the Eagles. I didn't think they could replicate that effort. All right, we're going to take our final break. By the way, Giants fans, we'll go out and get yourself some receivers. I mean, that's ridiculous what they throw out there.
They need to go get them a cheesesteak and get on the turnpike and go home. That's it.
You guys had a cute season. I'll give you that. All right, one more little twist on the 49ers. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll close up shop with that little topic on the Lehocky Eagles postgame show. The gang is back after this.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pond Lehocky, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Action News, celebrating 50 years with AccuWeather.
If you think severe weather has been on the rise, you are correct. In the last 3 years, tornado warnings in our region have shattered records, with 52 last year alone. Half of those warnings resulted in confirmed tornadoes, including 2 extremely rare EF3s. Thanks for always trusting us to keep you informed.
50 Years of AccuWeather is sponsored by Independence Blue Cross. Choose coverage you can count on with the region's strongest network.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
All right, welcome back to the Pond Lehocky Eagles postgame show. The gang's all here. I'm Mike Misnelli. That's Derek Gunn, Seth Joyner, Devin Caney. All right, here's the little twist I want to throw your guys' way from the news that I heard today on the 49ers. I think we all heard it, that Jimmy Garoppolo could be ready to play in an NFC title game and maybe the Super Bowl.
He ain't playing.
Let's just kick this around.
Would he play even if he could play?
Since you mistrust this rookie quarterback, would you, if he is ready to play, because let's face it, that Brock Purdy would have won 7 games in a row if they survive. Would you have the guts to pull him at that point if Garoppolo is healthy and you feel more secure about it?
I don't think they would pull him.
No.
I just don't think, I don't know.
Even if he's deemed 100%, these guys believe in this kid, Purdy. They haven't missed a beat since Garoppolo went down. The only way Garoppolo plays in this game is if Purdy chokes in the first half of the game. Then you make the switch out of desperation. But they're going to ride the wave with this kid. I mean, he's been an incredible story. He's won games for him. He's made all the throws they've asked him to make. He's scrambled. He's done more than anybody could have expected Mr. Irrelevant to do in the National Football League. There's no way they would switch at this point.
Why do you think the 49ers would even entertain a notion like that publicly and put that out there?
Because they've got to find a buyer. They've got to find a buyer at the end of the day for Jimmy Garoppolo when it's all said and done.
But he's not going to play, so the buyer's going to be the same.
No, that's not necessarily true.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Would you play him
in this game against the Cowboys? If Brock Purdy comes out and plays a bad game in the first half and they find themselves in a 17-point hole, Jimmy Garoppolo's coming in that football
against
game.
the Eagles?
No.
No. He's not ready to play this week. I'm talking about the NFC title game that he might be ready to play.
Absolutely. Then absolutely.
We got another
idiots.
Hey, was that a friend of yours?
Absolutely.
Was that one of your friends?
No.
I thought it was the same guy as before, and I thought he was gonna throw him.
No, it was a different guy.
Oh yeah, no, different guy. I have no idea who it was.
So to your point, Mike. So to your point, if you've got an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl, and the young quarterback, the moment becomes too big for him, you've got Jimmy Garoppolo, who's won an NFC championship before and who's lost a Super Bowl before. So absolutely you're going to go to him because just for the experience.
Yeah,
if you know that you're not going anywhere.
I get that point if the kid falls in his face. I'm saying if he is ready to play by the NFC title game.
Insert him as a starter?
In Philly, would you be more comfortable starting him?
No.
Okay.
Because that kid is taking over.
That's right.
He's won all of those games for you and gotten you to that point. You almost owe him the opportunity to fail rather than pulling the carpet out from under him. And you can damage him down the road because if you deem that Jimmy Garoppolo's gone after the year and that Trey Lance is not your franchise guy and you made a mistake and Brock Purdy is going to be that guy, the psychological damage that you could do to him by pulling the rug out from under him like that will be tremendous. You can't do that.
Well, but you also have to I agree with you, but I think with Brock Purdy, the reason why earlier in the show I said I'd prefer the 49ers over the Cowboys is Brock Purdy's never played in front of a crowd like Philly.
Well, that's why I asked the question because John
territory.
McMullen said at the end of the day, the Cowboys are the tougher draw because they've got a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
So if you're that afraid of starting a rookie quarterback in an NFC title game and the other guy is ready, would you make that kind of a move?
I don't agree with John, and this is why. Because I think that Kyle Shanahan knows how to implement this young kid as a game manager. Okay, they got so much talent across the board, offensively and defensively, that dare I say that the quarterback doesn't have to be lights out. He's just got to not make mistakes because they're going to run the ball well. They're going to throw screens well. The quick game is always going to be there. He's going to be protected, and when he's not protected, he's good enough to use his legs to get out of trouble. So they're going to put him, like you saw in the second half of the Seattle game last week, they're going to put him in a management situation and rely upon the defense and Christian McCaffrey to carry that team.
You know, anytime you're talking about putting in a quarterback with that little of experience, you have to whittle down the playbook a lot just to get him comfortable in a game. They never did that from the time this kid stepped on the field in that Miami game. Early in that Miami game, Kyle Shanahan didn't change that offense. And we're like, who the heck is Brock Purdy? Guy should be out in the back 40, playing on the field or something. He doesn't even have a football name, okay? He made all the throw. He came in. They did not change the game plan one iota. And you're saying, okay, that was a fluke. And then he does it again. And then you look at his overall stats from the time he went in that Miami game to now. Look at his touchdown ratio to interception ratio. Look at the throws he's made in the middle of the field, down the seams, deep throws. He's done everything, and he's made every throw you can possibly make. Now, he's never played in a game the magnitude of an NFC championship game. But, like Seth said, he is a significant reason why you've won 11 straight games. You owe this kid, if nothing more, you owe him a quarter to let him settle his feet in a game like that and to get that kind of experience.
All right, so obviously the people who are viewing this or listening to this show in midweek already know the result, right? so let's stay with that theme because there's another game tomorrow. I want to get your AFC look at Cincinnati and the Buffalo Bills. Seth, when you look at that game, who comes out on top? Because it's interesting. If Cincinnati wins, we don't have this neutral field situation.
I don't think it really matters because I don't think Kansas City can't beat Cincinnati. They've lost to them 3 times in a row. They seem to be the only team that they really have their number. But when you think about Buffalo being at home tomorrow, and if they trot DeMar Hamlin out to lead that team out of the tunnel, boy, it's going to be on and cracking those first couple of series in that stadium. The Buffalo Bills almost seem like a team of destiny, but at the same time, I've seen them at times this year, leave you scratching your head. Josh Allen has thrown, untimely interceptions. They haven't looked good at times on defense, but the same could be said, for Cincinnati. Cincinnati haven't solved their offensive line problems. They can't run the ball effectively as they need to run it, and Buffalo's pretty formidable on their defensive line. They don't have a premier pass rusher, but they got enough guys that can get there and get the job done. So I'd have to go with Buffalo. I really think that, how about them Cowboys? I can't wait till they go fishing tomorrow.
People are bugging you today.
Oh, they're just getting on my damn nerves, man.
I think you ought to just break through. Just start jacking people up. I want to see it.
If you do, you're going to be viral in about 2 minutes after you jack somebody up. And I'm going to say, I got to sit next to him tonight.
Everybody expects it. I think everybody's surprised we lasted this long without me chin-checking somebody.
Yeah, I agree. I'm one of those people, by the way.
Anyway, I think
fire in your eye today.
I think the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills win tomorrow, and they face the Kansas City Chiefs on a neutral site.
Here's how I look at the situation. You go back to the 2021 season. Joe Burrow was sacked 51 times in the season, hit well over 100 times. That team was 10-7, but they got on the roll at the right time. They came within 3 points of winning a Super Bowl. This year, Joe Burrow sacked 41 times, hit close to 100 times. This team is poised to go into Buffalo and win that game. The thing that concerns me about Buffalo is, where is their emotional level? They let a Miami team go in there last week with a quarterback named Skylar Thompson and get within 3 points of them in a game that was a lot closer than it should be. Now, I would imagine this Hamlin's going to be on the field. The emotion level is going to be like 100% over the top of what it was. Josh Allen has to play better in the red zone, which he has not played well this season in the red zone. But because Buffalo's playing this game at home, I believe this is Buffalo's year to get Cincinnati out of there.
All right, that's this thought occurred to me because I saw what happened today with Mahomes, and they said it was a high ankle sprain, and I'm thinking, okay, adrenaline gets you through this game. High ankle sprain, Seth, you never know what's going on. All of a sudden, for the first time, I think the Eagles can actually beat that AFC team. Kansas City or Buffalo or whoever survives. At first, I thought the Eagles in a Super Bowl match could not beat either of those teams. Now I'm not so sure that they can't beat either of those teams.
Listen, I don't worry about Buffalo. I really don't. My worry has always been the Kansas City Chiefs because Andy Reid is playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. What they do, from an offensive perspective is they play with defense's eyes. And if you're undisciplined in any way, they take advantage of, of your technical errors, your discipline errors, your fundamental errors. It's not that they schematically beat you. They take advantage of what you don't do well. Like Travis Kelce. No one can seem to get Travis Kelce under control.
Can't stop him.
Okay? And you want to know what the problem is? Anytime you're playing him man-to-man and you try to jam him, he's going to fight you with his hands. And then what winds up happening is you get on top of him. And anytime you're on top of a receiver, he has a two-way go, okay? So what I want to do is I want to jam him, and I want to get underneath him. If I'm underneath him, now I can be in the outside window, I can be on the inside window. But if you don't know how to do that and you've never been coached how to do that, you're going to lose that battle all day long because he's running option routes on every single play. There's no rhyme or reason to the routes that he runs. And if you watch him, sometimes it's like he'll just kind of jog off the line and sit down at 5 yards, and Patrick Mahomes will be in trouble, and he'll look and he'll find him. And the guy be standing right there next to him.
Exactly.
But the fact is, he's standing shoulder to shoulder instead of underneath him. So.
Well, I tell you what.
But with Patrick Mahomes not being mobile, that's a game changer.
Yeah,
the Eagles, they're gettable.
Here's the thing, though. The Kansas City Chiefs will line up in the same formation 10 times. They'll run 10 different plays from the same doggone formation. That's the only team in the NFL that draws up plays in the huddle. You heard Travis Kelce earlier in the season talking about, we talked about this in the huddle and we decided to do this. It's not something they practice. How do you defend a quarterback who throws sidearm, underarm, flip it over the top? There's certain things you can't prepare for.
Because when you're playing a quarterback like that and when you're playing a team like that, your technique, your fundamentals, and your discipline has to be spot on every single time.
Sure.
Because what they're waiting on is for you to have bad eye discipline. And that bad eye discipline causes you one step to get you out of position.
Yep.
So if I'm a defensive coordinator, you know, like the whole ring around the rosy thing last week, okay?
Right.
They're here going around in circles. They break the huddle real quick, and everybody's kind of dumbfounded on the defensive side of the ball, like, what's going on? No, your key is right there, whatever your key is. When they break, get your eyes on your key. Because if your eyes are on your key, then whatever they're running can't ever lie to you. You understand what I'm saying? No matter all that trickery stuff that they do is because you got bad eye discipline and you're not 100% sound in your technique and your fundamentals and your discipline as to what your job is in the scheme of the defense. And they bank on players not being that way, and that's what makes them so prolific as an offense.
Well, as far as the Chiefs are concerned, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. In the meantime, let's close this one down. Here's what we know. The Eagles live another week. They're in the NFC title game, and they have a chance to go to the Super Bowl with one more win. For everybody, I'm Mike Missinelli, Derek Gunn, Seth Joyner, Devin Caney. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next week. We got at least one more to go and maybe two. So we'll see. Let's go, Eagles. For everybody, we're out live from Ocean Casino. We'll see you next week.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Weather forecasting is a team game.
We rely on each other every day, updating the models and passing along new critical information.
We have a team of 5 experienced meteorologists and a specialized weather producer, Paul. Say hi, Paul.
Sometimes what I see in the model, Cecily could see something different.
That's when we come together as a team to make our most accurate prediction.
And all of this backed by more than 100 AccuWeather scientists. It's a team game.
And we have the best team in town.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
And go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Celebrating the life of your loved one is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givenish.
My son Kellen was a lively, vivacious, and sassy child. At the age of 4.5, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and he had a very short battle of only 10 months before he lost his life.
Life Celebrations by Givenish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew that I wanted to celebrate the life of my 5-year-old. And knowing his personality and knowing who he was at the core, that had to be something special.
Turning tragedy into a celebration of life, no matter how hard, is what we do at Life Celebrations by Givenish. Life Celebrations by Givenish, customizing services as unique as the individual.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.